Okay, in this video, we're going to be covering the 11.2 worksheets. Alright, problem 1 says to find the next term of the arithmetic sequence with integers. So what you're doing here is you're just seeing how is it changing from the first term to the second term. You notice negative 17 to a negative 12 means that you're adding 5. From negative 12 to negative 7, you're also adding 5. So here your difference is going to be 5. Okay? To get the next term, what we're doing is taking the previous term and adding the difference here. So negative 7, that was our previous term, plus 5 is going to equal to a negative 2. The next term, which is a of 5, is going to be negative 2, which is the previous term, plus 5 is equal to 3. So terms 4 and terms 5 are negative 2 and 3. Okay. For number 2, it's asking us, given this sequence, determine if it is an arithmetic sequence, which is adding or subtracting a common difference, or if it's not a arithmetic sequence. So the first thing I did was look and see how does it change from the first term to the second term. Okay. On this first problem, you can see that you are subtracting 5 from 8 to get 3. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. So your difference here is negative 5 and it's consistent. So yes, this is arithmetic sequence and the difference is going to be negative 5. For the second problem, you can see that what we're doing to get from the first term to the second term is adding 4. From the second term to the third term, you're also adding 4. So here this is arithmetic sequence and the difference is plus 4. Okay. For the last one, you can see that we added 3 to get from the first term to the second, but then when we get from the second to the third term, we're adding 6. So this is not an arithmetic sequence since the difference is not consistent. Okay. For number 3, it says to find the 50th term of the arithmetic sequence. So what we're going to be doing is identifying our A of 1. A of 1 is going to be the very first term, which is 6, which is here. Then we need to find out what the difference is. So from going from 6 to 14, we're adding 8. From 22 to 30, we're also adding 8. So here the difference will be 8. Okay. Since we're looking for the 50th term, that means n is going to be 50. So all I'm going to do is use my equations. Remember, there are listed here, and I'm using this one right here, okay, for arithmetic. Okay. A of 1 plus d times n minus 1. So n is 50, a of 1 is 6, d is 8, and then n minus 1, or in other words, 50 minus 1, turns out to be 49. Plug this in the calculator and you'll get 398. Okay. For problem 4, okay, problem 4 says to find the 17th term of the arithmetic sequence, and it tells us that the difference is going to be 5, and it also tells us the first term, A of 1, is going to be equal to 3. So I listed the difference is 5, first term is 3, and n is going to be the 17th since we're looking for the 17th term. Use the exact same equation as in the previous problem, and all we're doing is substituting. A of 17 is equal to A of 1, which is 3, plus d, which is 5, and then n minus 1, which is going to be 16 here. Plug this into the calculator and you'll get A of 17 is equal to 83. Okay. Okay. Number 5 is a little bit different. So here it says the common difference d is equal to 6. So d is equal to 6. And then it says the 29th term is going to be equal to 161. And what we're looking for is we're looking for the 11th term. So what I did here was I said d is equal to 6, that was given. A of 29 is equal to 161, which was also given, and we're looking for A of 11. Okay. Alright, what I did here was I just modified this equation into this form. If you notice the n here and the n here, those stay the same in this equation. But here you have an a of 1 and here you have a 1. So instead of saying let this be 1 and this be 1, I use the variable m, which is located here and located here. Okay. D is still on the outside, which is right here. So you just modified the equation. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and substitute. N is equal to 11, so I have a of 11 is equal to a of m. M is going to be the 29 given from the first information that we have. So a of 29 plus n, which is going to be 11, minus m, which is your 29, times d, which is 6. So all I did here was substitute the a of 29, that equal to the 161, and now I can find a of n, or a of 11, is equal to 53. Just plug in your numbers into the calculator, and that's what you'll get. Number 6 says find the first terms of the arithmetic sequence. So what we're doing here is we're given our first term and we're given a last term, but we don't know what this last term is, so that's what we're going to go ahead and find. I do know the first term is 6, so I put a of 1 is equal to 6 here, and then notice that we can determine what our difference is. We went from 6 to 4, that's going to be a subtraction of 2. And then from 4 to 2, that's another subtraction of 2. So our common difference is negative 2. So I have a of 1 is equal to 6, d is equal to negative 2, and I'm using my summation formula. In order for me to use this formula, I need to determine what this term is. In other words, what n is. Okay. A of n is equal to a of 1 plus d n minus 1. That's on our formula sheet. A of n, we don't know what n is, but we do know that the a of n, the last term, is negative 164. So I plug that in here. A of 1 we know is 6. D we know is negative 2. We don't know what n is. So all I did here was subtract 6 from both sides, and I got negative 170 is equal to, and distribute this negative 2 into the parentheses. So I got negative 2n, negative times negative is equal to a positive times 2. Okay, so a positive 2. Subtract the 2 from both sides. Now I have negative 172 is equal to negative 2n. Divide by negative 2, we find that n is equal to an 86. This should always be a whole number. Okay, so if you get any kind of fractions, you probably made a mistake, and you need to go back and find out where your mistake was. Okay, now that I know n is 86, I can plug it into my summation formula. The sum of the first 86 terms is equal to n divided by 2. That comes from our formula sheet right here. Okay, a of 1 plus a of n, a of 1 plus a of 86. Let's plug in our values. N is 86, a of 1 is going to be 6, and then a of 86 is going to be the negative 164. So all I did was plug this into my calculator, and I got the sum of the first 86 terms to be negative 6,794. Okay. For part B, all we're going to have to do is go ahead and find what our first few terms are. I plugged in a 1 for j, so I get negative 5 plus 12. That's equal to a 7. I put that information right up here. Okay. If j is equal to 2, I get negative 10 plus 12. That's going to get me a 2. And then I went ahead and did it one more time, and I plugged in a 3 here. Negative 15 plus 12. That gets me a negative 3. Okay, so our common difference is subtracting 5 for each term. I do know what n is in this case because n is going to be equal to 112. That's going to be our last term that we want to add in our summation. Okay, So over here, I went ahead and said A of 1 is equal to 7. That's our first term. N is equal to 112. All I did for the next part is I went ahead and used the formula. Now, I did this one a little bit differently. Here, I used the original formula that I have right here. Okay, I used A of 1, which was 7, plus the difference, which was negative 5. That's the difference here, times n minus 1. N minus 1 is going to be 111, which I got from here. That ended up coming out to negative 548. You could also just plug in the 112 in for J. Let me go ahead and do that in the calculator, show you it comes out to the same answer. So I have negative 5 times the 112 plus 12, okay, and you get the negative 548. So either way that you do this, it will be correct, okay. All right, once I have A of 12, I can go ahead and use that second formula to find my summations. That second formula is right here, n divided by 2. So this is the 1/2 n, which is 112. And then I have A of 1 plus A of n. So A of 1, our first term, was 7 plus A of n, which is the negative 548. I have that here. Plug this into the calculator and you should get S of 112 is equal to negative 30,296. Okay, that concludes worksheet 11.2. Let me know if you have any questions.